Have you ever got to the end of reading a text and even though you feel like you've been understanding on the way through, you get to the end and you're not quite sure exactly what you read? That's because many of us actually read at the idea level or the sentence level. We understand the individual ideas in the text, but we often don't connect the ideas across the text. So this is a reading strategy of helping you to connect the ideas across the text to build the understandings that the author has put into that text. And we use the powerful habit of self-questioning as we read to reach that goal. So how does it work? You simply stop at the end of each paragraph and you ask yourself, what's the author trying to say in this paragraph? You try to isolate the main idea of that paragraph. And then you ask yourself, how does this idea connect to what has gone before? You read the next paragraph and you repeat the questions as you go through the text. So let's take a look at a text on pollination to model what this might look like. This is the first two paragraphs of a text on pollination. I'm going to read the first paragraph. It has been estimated that 70% of world crops experience increased size, quality, or stability because of pollinating activities, affecting at least 35% of the global food supply. Furthermore, pollination contributes to the stability of food prices, food security, food diversity, and human nutrition, and is estimated to be worth $200 billion worldwide. Despite its general importance as a key ecosystem service, we're only just beginning to understand how human land use changes affect wild and domestic pollinators. So, what's the author trying to say in this paragraph? The first idea we meet is that crops experience increased size, and then we meet the idea of why that happens, the cause, and the cause is because of pollination. Then we get some statistics, some more kind of background information. And the next kind of big idea we get is the idea that humans have changed the way they use land. And we get that that has affected wild and domestic pollinators. So we seem to have two ideas in this paragraph. One is that pollination increases crop yields, but that pollination is affected by human land use changes. Let's move on to paragraph 2. Although crop pollinators include a wide variety of animals, bees are usually regarded as the most important and most effective, at least with regard to important agricultural plants. Bees are abundant and diverse, with an estimated 20 to 30,000 species worldwide, living in a diverse set of ecological niches. Most importantly, recent studies have demonstrated that crops, including coffee, experienced higher and more stabilized fruit set in habitats with greater diversity of native bees. So the first idea we meet there when we think about what's the author trying to say in this paragraph is the idea of bees being the most important and effective pollinators. Then we get some background information about bees, species, ecological niches. Then we get the idea that these plants experience higher and more stabilized fruit set, and the reason for that is the greater diversity of native bees. So once again, we seem to have two ideas in this paragraph. First is that bees are the most important pollinators, and secondly, the diversity of bee species results in better pollination. So we need to ask ourselves now, how does this connect to what has gone before? So in the first paragraph, we learned that crop yields increase with pollination and that human land use changes affect pollinators. In the second, we learned that bees are the most important of those pollinators that cause the crop increase in size. And we further learned that it's diversity of native bees that seems to really help the fruit set and help increase that crop yield. So the connection between these is that pollination increases crop yields, but in order to achieve really high crop yields, we need this diversity of bee species. You would move on and continue to do that across the text. Once you've become practiced in making connections across a text, one next step might be to write some text summaries and start to make connections across a variety of texts.